Is the Matrix franchise dead? Will it need a reboot, or can it continue? From Revelations, next up on Just to Talk. So let's talk about it. And welcome to the Flicks Picks and the Nitpicks. And I am your humble host, No 718. And we'll get right to the shit, babe. You see the title card? And I gotta ask the question: is the Matrix franchise dead? Now, there's a lot to be discussed about the Matrix. I do want to get deep into Matrix lore and things that I don't think mainstream has talked about, that I'm not 100% sure is 100% fact or fiction, but it wouldn't surprise me. Now, on the black side of things, I have to do it. There's a black woman that is said to have created the Matrix and had sued over it and sort of won, so it may seem. And I'm gonna have to get her name up real quick. Sophia Stewart. And I was aware of her. I found, not from the beginning, obviously not. It was a surprise to me when I found out about her. It was some years ago, and her name every now and again pops up, and I look her up. It was said that she filed a lawsuit in 2003 over being plagiarized for the Terminator and the Matrix. Now, from the premise of a story, when you really think of the Terminator and the Matrix, it could seamlessly go into each other. She said they split the book. It transitioned from robots to plugging people in. That was the whole arc of the book. And what they did was they split it and made one the Matrix and one, the Terminator. And they've also said that John Connor was a euphemism or acronym, JC, for Jesus Christ. Which was interesting. That's what she said, that was her idea. That's why John Connor came from. That being said, and it's from her book, The Third Eye, which I gotta go look up now. I'm gonna see if I could go get that and read that, because it sounds like it could be a very interesting read. It would behoove you to at least say her name, because there you could probably continue the story, or bring a woman like her in and kind of give it a breath of fresh air of where we could take Revelations, and also kind of encompass what her book was trying to say and take it to another level. You know what I'm saying? To actually reset the idea, but also bring in those that wrote like a great film, the original one, but also bring in the woman that you pretty much took her idea. Because now she can breathe in a breath of fresh new air from the original source material. I think there you could probably find a revelation, if you will, you know what I mean, pun intended, of possibilities. Now, in watching, I finally watched Revelations, and I want to be careful before I'm talking about it without giving my review the only way you know your boy can. You know what I'm saying? Giving you all my picks and my nitpicks. They did leave the door open to take this story in a very new yet familiar way, which, depending who you are, could, in a way, they tried to tip through the tulips, walk a real very, very, very thin line of making you look at the original in a different kind of way, and almost making it seem like it didn't happen. At the same time, it actually did. It walked the thin line of that. But I was just thinking to myself, like, where could they? Is it dead? Because there's no energy about it. No one talked about it. It came and went straight to streaming. Well, no, it didn't. Actually went in the theater. Damn. It came and went, left the theater and went to streaming, I believe, very quickly. I saw it on streaming. I was trying to see it in the theaters, but I just couldn't get around to it. I was busy grinding. But is it over? And it is easy to say it's dead in the water. There's nothing more you can do with it. And I think that was the one thing I will admit to you guys before you get my full review, that I thought that they found an interesting way to take the story to kind of like lend a very pop culture commentary to what's going on, to be very ask the question within the Matrix. What more could we do? What could we revolutionize? Could we go back to the, you know what I mean, the 360 camera stop in motion thing? We've done that already. That was the stick. To keep on doing it, which I actually thought was real dope, that they didn't, they handled that pretty decent. You know? I mean, you gotta also remember that Matrix had iconic imagery that kind of revolutionized filmmaking and inspired a lot of different type of films moving forward. The stylized way of fighting and things of that nature. What could they do to revolutionize that again? Or why don't we focus on a very strong story-driven film? Maybe make it a drama? But I don't think people will want to see a dramatic Matrix. The first one had a balance of high concept and action and fun, while you can't re-shock people about, oh, this is not real and this is real. It's hard to do that again. And I think that was the one thing that the Matrix found a hard time in trying to top. I think what they should have done, and make no mistake, I think I actually liked Matrix 2, but it was missing something. And I think even when I remember watching it, the way it ended right into to be continued. It was like, what the fuck is this? And I understood what they were trying to do, but with 2, and maybe if 3 was even better, 2 would have shined brighter, because 2 goes directly into 3. But Zion, when they showed Zion and how there was a lot of things that just seemed real corny about it. I think they could have done better with scripting the war scenes, scripting how Zion would look. I think they could have done better with that. I think that, because at times Zion just seemed kind of corny. like it, not to be funny, like effed up. It just seemed like all the shots and the scenes and the things in the real world started to be, it wasn't as, I'd just rather be in the Matrix. The real world wasn't as interesting, which is sad to say in terms of what they was trying to show, the war. I think they could have done that better. I think they could have depicted that in a more interesting way. Don't get me wrong, I did everything in the Matrix, the fight scenes, those were all impressive. And don't get me wrong, the machine that they jumped into, those are well done designs. I just feel like when we were in Zion started to become more comical upon itself, for lack of a better way of illustrating it. I think they could have, I understood they wanted to develop a different type of culture I just don't know if it was shot well enough to make anything that happened in the real world look more interesting. Because I think they could have been. On paper, it would have been easy. I think if you look at the Animatrix, where they tried to develop certain aspects of it, in different elements of art, there's a plethora of ways of making these characters far more interesting in the real world. And yet it just made them seem corny. The war guys seemed like cheese. Some of it just seemed I don't know. But not to over focus on it, because I think I did that long enough. I feel like if we was to go back into the Matrix, where could we take it further, the story? And I think Revelations tried to provide a path for that. And I think they've actually created one. But who would want to pick up from where Revelations left off at? Because it could go in the direction of almost being kind of Star Wars-like, if you will. But where do you want to take that? What would be the higher question to achieve? What would be the interest to go back? Or should we go back to the Matrix but take it a whole other way? And again, it's still the Matrix. They have to still be plugged in to do so. And I think unless you start going anthology, which can be a great idea, you could build up other characters from different, like say if we was to start a movie based on another character out the Matrix that got unplugged and their story, kind of like Animatrix, maybe do one about another ship and what they had to do to fulfill a task to get to the next level, and then make another one, and then make them all converge in this Avengers-like mission that involves Neo. And we see Neo and Trinity come back. And then maybe Trinity has to do a mission someplace else, and Trinity gets her spinoff. And we could open up the Matrix far more wider and explore far more interesting concepts like aliens. Do aliens have aliens exist? Would aliens exist? And let's say if aliens exist, would they, in order to conquer the planet, would they not try to override and take over the Matrix since their machines already took over them? Maybe they can upload a different code that can, I don't know, facilitate another higher agenda that they want to make. And maybe we can answer a different kind of questions that go far beyond just the planet. Or maybe there is nothing else, just Earth. Boom. Real shit. Can we? Maybe some aliens are already plugged into the Matrix and we don't know, and they're using their bio energy for them. Let's actually even have a conversation with the rogue machines. You know, I mean, and we could go into this whole weird Star Wars kind of thing where we're fighting in two different worlds. The real world and the Matrix. And maybe the next film in that franchise doesn't have to be Matrix, because you're not in the Matrix. It's going to focus on real world combat that takes place there. Can we not? And would it be interesting? Would people be interested? I think one way to market it is go that way first. Make a film that we don't know is part of the Matrix, whether they're in the Matrix or it's in the real world. I think if it's in the real world, it'll be hard to really depict that without people being like, So is that like Zion? Like if you keep showing and they never enter the Matrix, whereas if you show a Matrix, you see a film and you see these guys doing kind of supernatural things, but we don't tell you it's the Matrix. It's called something else, and by the very end we find out, oh shit, this is the Matrix. Bah. Imagine that. And it's a good film, but where it ends and how it ends, it makes everyone want to go back to the Matrix. And that could be your jump start. And then don't even make a part 2 to that yet. Talk about the part 2. And then throw another movie out there. Another corner of the Matrix. And it ends, someone takes a pill, they're out the Matrix. Maybe even in the after credits. And then we go, oh shit, this was a good movie and this is the Matrix. Answers another question. Higher concept question. Without having to totally depend on the cachet that the Matrix built. Then you do another film and you could talk about it directly being part of the Matrix. While we're going for the first one that we threw out there that no one thought of, it comes with a part 2, and then after that part 2, then you can have one where everybody links up. It doesn't have to be, oh, everyone gets their movie, then they link up. Maybe the first one gets 2 movies in that go, because we started with that. And then you see it end with one of the other characters, and then we realize, oh shoot, and then you have the Matrix, and then you see Neo and Trinity and the gang back at it again with this new young fresh team that was put together through 3 different independent films. I really think that would probably be the direction to go, and there's a possibility that they could do something like that. But the question is what are the higher concept questions that you would want to inject a little bit of, but not over focus on it, but make a twist at the end that could be the thing that makes you go, dag, that is such a Matrix 1 kind of film, because I didn't see that coming. And I think that would be a better way to go about it. But the question I ask you guys are, should they even reboot? Because I don't know if I want to see a reboot. I mean, a reboot works very well by rebooting everything. In the Matrix, you could literally reboot it with the same characters and it still be the Matrix, or reboot it with redo it all over again and it still be the Matrix. It's just different actors. I mean, you could kind of make a reasoning for it. But I don't know if anyone would want to reboot it, because we're already going to know how it's going to end. And that's not so much of a bad thing. I just think that not enough time probably went by to reboot it with a brand new cast from the beginning. I mean, yes, Revelations just came out, but I don't think if Revelations came out, I don't think we have enough time, because people already know that film so well. And if we didn't make Revelations, I don't know if anybody would be interested in a reboot. They'll just say, why don't you try to continue it? And look at what happened when they did. And you could argue it wasn't a good film. I'll give you more commentary how I felt about it directly and when I do my review. But should they reboot business-wise? I mean, I could see why. Start it all over again so we can start from square one. We know we can make a good version of that movie because that first movie was good on its own. We got the technology to probably take it a step further. Would we use the same old school way of like the stop with the 360 camera on it? Possibly we could revamp that. Or we can move away from that if you like, to separate itself from the original at the end of the day, as long as a well done, well acted, well crafted film, it's possible. It's possible. Maybe, I don't know, let's say Chris Nolan directs this new Matrix. But I don't think any director would want to touch it because it'd be hard to remake that. But at the same time, unless you want to go a slightly different direction with it, and even if you do that, it can be done. But would anybody be interested in it? That's the thing. And with Revelations basically underperforming, I could see them go to the reboot first. From what I understand, I don't think they'll. I mean, who knows? You never know if they'll revisit the Matrix and continue it. It's possible. It's always possible. You know, I mean, these actors still look pretty good. Who knows? But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Should they reboot it? Should they continue the story? Or you know what? Do you believe it's already dead and there's no way to revitalize it? I think that I gave a couple of ideas, you know what I mean? But I'll leave it all to you. Leave it in the comments below. You already know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time. And as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.